In animation, colorful rounded fabric squares converge, spiraling upward. Ability Summit. From various locations, individuals wave.
Hello from Beijing, China.
Hello from Paris in France.
Greetings from Waterloo, Ontario, Canada.
Hello from Sammamish, Washington, United States.
Philippe.
For me, be an accessibility champs means to be the best advocate of solutions that can empower everybody on the planet to achieve more.
Yi.
If I had the power to change the world of accessibility, I would ensure that all technology is designed with accessibility in mind, rather than being an afterthought. I will also advocate for the development of more advanced assistive technology that can help people with disabilities to participate fully in society.
David.
My vision for disability in tech is to create assistive technology that people can use effortlessly to stay in flow.
Bernardo.
An accessibility champ is someone who has empathy and asks questions to learn and understand what people are going through and makes a difference in people's lives.
Jenny Lay-Fleury.
Welcome back from our first round of breakout sessions. This is the Ability Summit 2023. Apparently, I'm still Jenny Lay-Fleury, and we are going to be really focusing throughout this day on the 3 pillars of Imagine, Build, and Include. As you deepen your knowledge on each of these themes, don't forget to follow along on social media with the hashtag Ability Summit, and a reminder that breakout and keynote sessions will be available on demand after today's event. So if you don't catch that one really great breakout, and there are some happening simultaneously, don't worry, you can catch up afterwards. I've had the privilege of watching a few before coming on stage today, but I will be watching the rest this weekend. Now, one of the unique things about this event is the knowledge sharing we get to do. To that end, in our next segment, we'll gain a deeper understanding of the important deaf culture and tools that empower members of the deaf and hard of hearing community to achieve more. We are so lucky to have an amazing person at the helm of this panel. Deaf advocate, online personality, and host and creator of the Melmira Show, Melissa Almira Yingst. Let's check it out.
Using sign language.
Thank you, Jenny. I am so thrilled to be here with the two of you today. My name is Melissa Yingst, and I am very involved with the deaf community in multiple organizations. I wear different hats, primarily in the mental health field, but my heart is definitely with the deaf community, which leads me to be involved in media. My platform, Melmira, is where I love to ask questions, and so that's exactly what we're going to do today with the both of you. Are you ready?
She nods.
All right. Well, I'd like for you to introduce yourselves. First of all, let's start with you, Howard.
Thank you, Melissa.
He signs.
My name is Howard Rosenblum. This is my ASL name sign.
An H to his forehead.
And I work as the CEO of the National Association of the Deaf, as you can see by the crest behind me. I'm also a practicing attorney. But my training, in addition to that, is a computer engineer. So I'm very interested in making access more available to folks in our community, both by way of technology and the law. I'm thrilled to be here.
Great. Thank you. And Chris?
Signing.
Thank you, Melissa. My name is Chris Sano, and I'm the accessibility architect in Microsoft Teams organization here at Microsoft. My primary responsibility has been to build and drive the vision for the best-in-class experience for the deaf and hard of hearing using Teams. I also own accessibility across the calling, meeting, and devices space, and I'm very passionate about innovating in the accessibility space and building equitable experiences that empower everyone to be their very best. I'm honored to be a part of the panel today and so excited to talk about my journey and the work I've been doing with both you and Howard, very important people in our community.
Oh, thank you. I could definitely feel the passion that you have for Microsoft, and Microsoft is very fortunate to have you, Chris. I want to thank Microsoft for providing us this platform, because what an amazing opportunity it is for us to be able to speak about what it is like to be in the society we live in today. So, of course, I want to start on that note. How do you think being deaf has shaped your journey and led you to where you are currently?
Howard nods his head, then shrugs, raising his eyebrows.
Well, I can go ahead and kick us off. Yeah, I've been practicing as an attorney now for 31 years, so it has been quite a journey. As you can see, I've lost my share of hair from it. And I've also been trained as an engineer. Even before that, in my early years growing up, I saw that society did not have any kind of accessible technology available to me. For the first half of my childhood, I didn't have access to anything. For the latter half of my childhood, I had access to a TTY, but no captions were provided on television and movies at the time. Now, as the industry grew and grew, I would see more and more. However, for the most part, I observed that our community was left behind. So deaf people weren't getting an experience on par with the greater society. So I kept my focus on technology and my desire for us to get at least on par, if not ahead, but we continue to lag behind. So what I would like to see are advanced platforms such as Microsoft to get us into an equitable position and not leave us behind, as had been my experience. At NAD and as an engineer, as a lawyer, I like to strategize on ways to keep us moving forward in terms of accessibility, not just what's good for a narrow niche, but what's good for everyone. In other words, universal design.
Thank you. And that's a really wonderful way how law and technology can work hand in hand. Never thought about it in that perspective. But once you've shared that with me, I'm like, yeah, they do actually function well together. Chris, I know you're in the heart of technology working with Microsoft. So how does that apply to you being a deaf gentleman?
Well, for me, it's a part of my identity. It's who I've been my entire life. It's all I know. And because of that, I know exactly what it's like to live, like Howard was mentioning, in a world or society that is not designed for people like me. It's an ongoing, constant reminder. For example, I drop my kid off at school every morning, and there are always a lot of parents and teachers interacting. I feel like I'm walking through a vast sea of auditory information that I have no access to. I'm also a CrossFit junkie. I go to classes every day, and the coaches don't sign. So while I can watch and learn, and Melissa, I know you're a part of the CrossFit community as well, but I miss the nuances of the different movements. I'm also in meetings using technology that isn't perfect, which impedes my ability to understand and contribute to discussions, and ultimately impacts how well I'm able to do my job. I think all of us have similar examples of how even with the things that are important to us and the things that we love doing, there are challenges that we need to overcome. And really, I am who I am today because I'm persistent. I have a good understanding of the different barriers that I have to overcome. And each barrier that I overcome becomes a tool on my tool belt that I can then use to address the next. I know firsthand what it's like to struggle to get the access that I need. I have the lived experience. I may not necessarily know or understand everyone's struggle, but that doesn't change my goal of making the world a more accessible place for everyone. And I'm extremely fortunate to be in the position where I am today to drive those changes in a product that is used by so many people. And that's where I hope that my experience and my perspectives on things will make a difference.
Yes, indeed. I think you just made me realize that without our technology, our access would be at the hands of hearing people and their willingness to accommodate us. For example, growing up, I had to interpret phone calls. And yes, you talked about CrossFit. I had a great experience at Orange Theory because the instructor was willing to write down everything for me as far as the instructions. And that experience was great for me. But of course, this was at the hands of a person choosing to do so, not technology. So if technology could make everything accessible to us, we wouldn't have to hesitate with every person that we come across wondering, would they accommodate us or not? Because it would be automatically given to us if technology could work out that way. Now, I'd like to know, yes, technology is made amazing leaps and bounds. But I'm wondering, how can deaf users contribute to better technology and have better experiences for everyone?
Chris.
Yeah, so I like to think about it from the perspective of if someone doesn't recognize a potential problem because it doesn't impact them personally, they're not going to have a good solution for it. When you're forced to continuously adapt to an environment that isn't designed for you, you're going to naturally try to come up with solutions that will work for you. And in many cases, those solutions end up benefiting a broader group of people. For those of us who understand what it is in this is deaf gain, right?
Mm-hmm.
For those who don't
Yes.
know, deaf gain emphasizes the idea that being deaf is not a loss or something to be pitied, but really it's rather a unique and valuable way of experiencing the world.
The others nod their heads.
For example, the first captioning was invented by a deaf person. It was actually created for the deaf and hard of hearing, but now it's used as a tool for those who are learning how to read. Maybe those who are not native English speakers, or even in an environment where they may have a temporary disability. For example, in an environment if it's very noisy, or they're somewhere they need to be very quiet because they have a baby and they don't want to wake them up. So thinking about live captions in Teams, this feature was specifically built to provide access for the deaf and hard of hearing user. Obviously, as I just mentioned, the impact extends beyond the DHH users. And now with this foundation that we built, we're able to extend our offering to include live translation, which
Oh, that's
allows
so
users to
cool.
access caption translated into their preferred language. So now people can access information in the language that they're most comfortable with. And we continue to harness the power of AI to build features to help us drive our vision of creating inclusive meetings. Deaf people possess strong problem solving skills and creative
Right,
thinking that
right.
allows
It's a
us to
must.
overcome communication barriers. We have to. We're constantly being forced to adjust to changing circumstances. So we're always adapting. We understand those challenges better than anyone else. And we're positioned very well to design and drive what those solutions should look like.
Yes, yes. Very good point about how technology that benefits deaf people really does benefit everyone.
So, Melissa, I'm curious, given the sense that technology is so important to your platform, I mean, you are enriching everyone's lives by the interviews that you give. I'm just wondering, technology is a huge part of what you do. What would you be doing if technology wasn't where it is today? What would you be doing instead?
Well, thank you for that question that you're asking about what I am or what I'd be doing without technology. And to be honest, I don't know. And I don't want to find out. I think without technology, my show, would it even exist? Doubtful, because my show is based exclusively with social media. And yeah, I think I probably would have opportunities to do in-person discussions and gatherings, but I believe the ability to send the message to a larger audience would be limited. And my topics tend to be very in depth with, say, mental health. And I can see the impact that it has on our community by that ripple effect and the discussions that it elicits. And the access would probably require a lot of work on my end to make sure that my signing is accessible, because it's not for those that do not know sign language, but it's also for the deaf, blind, and people who are maybe emerging signers. And so there would be a lot of transcriptions and translations and creating captions. So I do believe that there are quite a few deaf content creators who do use that approach. And I think we feel oftentimes that we want to be able to have the same type of respect from the hearing content creators. We are deaf. We're putting in that much effort to make our work accessible. I'd like to see the same effort on the other end to make it a lot easier. And I think we make those steps available so that when a person speaks, the captions come up automatically for us. But we have to do everything manually. And so my dream would be able to have that software that would recognize sign language and create captions. Now, I wonder if maybe if you could each have a magic wand, make your wishes come true. Now, mind you, we're talking about accessibility What would you do?
Howard grins.
What would your wish be? You want to go? You want to have a go, Chris?
It's a great question. I've thought about this one for a while. I think the word that comes to mind is empathy. I'd want everyone to have the ability to be empathetic towards the experiences and needs of people with disabilities. You don't have to understand everything, but be empathetic. This is a critical component of accessibility. So it allows us to design and build products and services that are more inclusive, accommodating, and beneficial for people with disabilities. Without this, it's really hard to make progress.
Howard nods emphatically.
Oh, yeah. I would say nearly the same thing that Chris did. I think the largest challenge, both in terms of the law and policy, remains people's attitudes. You can do whatever needs to be done with tech or with the law, but if there are people who act as gatekeepers to deem something unnecessary or allow the majority's needs to override the few, that misses the mark. Universal design, universal access, creates more availability, more profit, more products, more productivity for everyone. With the Section 508 requirements at the federal level now, if something is inaccessible, then the government doesn't buy it. That holds true with all products, all tech, all services, all access. I would like to see an attitude shift. I would like to see, for example, every platform, every tech company, before releasing a new product or technology, to engage a focus group of people with disabilities who would screen these kinds of matters before something is released. If something is inaccessible, make it right. Make it universally accessible, guaranteed, before it's released to the marketplace. Anyway, that would be my magic wand answer, Melissa.
I say bingo. I think the both of you nailed it. And with the work that's done for the deaf community, they should be included in the process. I think that's such a vital piece. Now we have sign language, and it's a hot moment in our community these days, but I don't want that to just be a trend. I'd love to see that to be the everyday constant for everyone to eagerly want to participate, to improve the technology, to keep it going. So maybe a dream would be is to have that sign language available and translated into printed English, to have that sign recognition. Do you know Christine Sun Kim? A well-known artist. She makes these bags, and very true. If you knew sign language, we would be friends. It's so true. If everyone signed, we could all communicate with one another. And so it's a dream of mine. Hopefully someday it becomes our reality. Isn't that right?
Howard and Chris nod.
Well, thank you for this opportunity, this reflective conversation. For those of you watching, hopefully you're percolating and including the community in everything that you do. Keep us in mind. Again, thank you to Microsoft for providing this platform. And excited to head back to the program.
Howard grins. Chris nods.
Thanks so much, Melissa.
Thank you to the two of you.
Thanks, Melissa.
Thank you, panelists. Now, you can't create inclusively without the right tools. Coming up, we find out how Windows 11 is driving innovation through inclusive design. And after that, Amanda Silva, Corporate Vice President of Microsoft Developer Division, leads an expert discussion and demos on how to empower inclusive developer teams. You don't want to miss it.
Shilpa Ranganathan.
Hello, Ability Summit. I am Shilpa Ranganathan, and I lead the Windows Product Experience Organization. This is my first opportunity to present at Ability Summit. I'm incredibly excited to be here and to share with you the journey we are on to empower people with disabilities and everyone to create a more inclusive Windows. Today, you have heard that at Microsoft, we believe that accessibility is a fundamental right. For Windows, that means we must create accessible experiences that empower our customers with disabilities to thrive in the Windows ecosystem. The opportunity is huge. Today, more than 1 billion people create, connect, and learn on Windows. And for every one of those users across the disability spectrum, we strive to provide options so you can customize and personalize your unique experience. We really want you to be you. Windows 11 is the most accessible version of Windows we have ever shipped, and this is all because of you. People with disabilities and your feedback have led to product innovations that we are really proud to share. Now let's explore a few of these features: live captions, voice access, and narrator. First, Windows 11 offers live captions built into the operating system. Systems-wide live captions on Windows 11 can automatically transcribe spoken content from any audio.
On a screen.
Now, these are really great if you are deaf or hard of hearing, trying to learn English, or just being in a noisy room. Now, you can even move the captions window and place it anywhere on the screen, and you can also personalize these. Now, the part that I'm most excited about is the offline availability of this feature. Windows Live Captions are available wherever you are because you do not need to have an internet connection. Now, the second feature is Windows 11 Voice Access. Everyone can now control their device and dictate content using their voice. Together with our Mobility Advisory Board, which is a community of experts that really keep us grounded, we've developed voice access to be easy to learn and easy to use. And I'm really excited to share that in the Windows 11 February update, we have been able to bring voice access out of preview. Now, third is a collection of experiences for Narrator, Windows' built-in screen reader. With Narrator, we are on a journey to make it easy and delightful to consume content for people who are blind. We've heard your feedback on the importance of Braille and the role Windows and Narrator play in supporting a rich ecosystem of AT solutions. This is why I'm excited to share that with the Windows 11 February update, Narrator will extend support for more modern Braille devices. I have a very special thank you to Humanware for their partnership in bringing 3 devices to the Design for Surface family of accessories. So what's next for inclusive Windows experiences? Today, more than ever, we are spending so much time on our PCs. And while we've found many ways to be efficient, we can also find ourselves quite overwhelmed and distracted. Our neurodivergent colleagues and customers have been very clear that we need better tools to manage the cognitive load we are all experiencing today. In response to this feedback, we are working on tools to help. Along the way, we have captured our learnings and partnered with others to create the Inclusive Design Toolkit for Cognition to help us all build inclusively. And I'm thrilled today to announce that we are, for the first time, publishing that toolkit to all of you. To share more on the toolkit, I'm pleased to welcome Christina Mallon and Margaret Price to the stage.
On separate screens.
Hi, everybody. I'm Christina Mallon, and I'm a neurodivergent inclusive designer with dual arm paralysis who runs inclusive design here at Microsoft.
Hey, everyone. I'm Margaret Price. I'm one of the founders of Inclusive Design and a strategist here at Microsoft. We launched Inclusive Design in 2015, and millions around the world downloaded and used the toolkit. We have tens of thousands of schools and higher education using it within their curricula. But there was a whole field of opportunity that our initial toolkit didn't address. So we wanted to start a huge body of work to answer the question, how does inclusive design support cognition? This included learning from and working with close to 100 experts in cognition across disciplines, hundreds of people with disabilities who are neurodiverse. I identify as being neurodiverse myself. Dozens and dozens of people across industries in varying occupations, from emergency room doctors and developers to firefighters and air traffic controllers. We conducted comprehensive literature reviews and tested a lot of our hypotheses in design sprints over a 2-year period. Christina will share the highlights of what we learned and how we framed that learning to make a difference.
I'm happy to share that. But first, I want to define cognition, which is a range of mental processes that acquire, store, manipulate, and retrieve information. As a person with ADHD, these cognitive processes can be difficult at times, which stops me from achieving my goals. So with this toolkit, we had a guiding principle, which which was for any task to be successful, motivation must equal or surpass cognitive load. As Margaret said, we've learned from our research partners and the disability community that it's important to identify cognitive load and the type and level of thinking required to complete the task. Once that's defined, you should be able to create an experience that doesn't overload the consumer. Together, we've developed 3 guidelines for the toolkit. The first is start with identifying the user's motivation and then create goals and tasks to complete those goals. The second, identify the cognitive demands and their levels needed to complete the task. And third, co-create. Work together with neurodiverse communities to create experiences that reflect the incredible diversity of human cognition. Just at the beginning of this long journey, and we will continue to work with our research partners and the disability community to build on top of this. So teams at Microsoft have really been implementing this into their work. Shilpa, I would love to know how Windows is doing this.
Thank you, Christina. One example I wanted to share with you today is how we are making it easier for everyone to be more productive on Windows with our new features to help users focus. Now, this is a favorite of mine. Windows Do Not Disturb allows users to turn off notifications. And when you're ready to turn on Do Not Disturb, Windows will tuck notifications away safely in the notification center. And once you're ready to engage, you can review what you missed. Another favorite of mine is focus sessions. You turn it on and you turn off the distraction. When you're in a focus session, Windows turns on Do Not Disturb, and it also turns off taskbar badging as well as apps flashing on the taskbar. Now, thanks to the integration with the Clock app, you will see a timer that will allow you to write that overdue trip report, read that lengthy journal article, or just get in the flow of your code. And you can even play audio from Spotify to keep you engaged in your task. Now, these tools that work for everyone would not be possible without the principles of inclusive design for cognition. Christina, how do we get people to get access to this toolkit?
Well, before I tell the team, I want to let you know how thankful I am for these focus tools. They're really a game changer for me. So, okay, where can you find the toolkit? Go to inclusive.microsoft.design to download the toolkit. And if you want to learn more, right after this break, join us for a deep dive in the breakout session, Building for the Brain.
Thank you, Christina and Margaret. And thank you to all of you who have joined us at the Ability Summit today. We look forward to receiving your feedback on Windows accessibility and the Inclusive Design for Cognition Toolkit. Up next is my dear friend and colleague, Amanda Silver, talking about inclusive developer experiences. Take it away, Amanda.
Amanda Silver.
Hi, everyone. I'm Amanda Silver, and my pronouns are she, her. I'm the head of product for Microsoft's developer tools and GM for the first-party engineering systems that all Microsoft developers use. I'm so happy to be here today to share some of the amazing work Microsoft is doing to create inclusive and accessible experiences for developers. For as long as I can remember, my personal career mission has been to help developers and their teams unleash their creative potential and to use technology to achieve more. That mission is what brought me to Microsoft 22 years ago, and it's what's kept me here ever since. I got recruited to join Microsoft right out of college as an entry-level PM for developer tools. But my journey to computer science was not a straightforward one. I really struggled through my first year of college. My CS coursework was dense, and I couldn't find my focus, and by the end of my second semester, I had professors encouraging me to switch my major to architecture or art history. For whatever reason, that actually emboldened me, and I became completely committed to succeeding in computer science and learning how to code. And I even became a teaching assistant because it felt important to help people who didn't think or create in a mainstream way over that hurdle too. You know, my days as a TA are behind me, but what gets me excited to come into the office every day is knowing that I'm able to work toward that exact same mission, ensuring that the next generation of technologists is more representative of the people our products serve. Over the years, I've seen our teams iterate and improve on products like Visual Studio, VS Code, .NET, TypeScript, and the first-class engineering systems that all Microsoft developers use. Our ability to adapt and design for our customers' changing needs has kept us relevant. And we've built a large and loyal community of people who love and use our products every day. But we know there's still so much work to be done to empower developers who use our products to build their businesses, to create new systems and tools, and to teach others. As our world and our industry continue to shift, it's our responsibility to take a critical look at how developers and their teams are learning, creating, and collaborating now, and how that might evolve in the future. It's our responsibility to meet change with curiosity, to create products that work for different kinds of developers, and to put people power behind new ideas so that the next generation of engineering teams is more diverse and inclusive than ever. Earlier today, we released the newest iteration of our Inclusive Design Guidelines. This cross-team collaboration gives us some really tangible tools to build and adapt the developer experiences for the incredible diversity of human cognition. In other words, these guidelines are going to help us make products work better for people, which is good for our company, for our customers, and for the communities they serve. We've made these guidelines available to you at inclusive.microsoft.design. And we've also been working on new features that will empower more developers by reducing friction and improving focus. Now with that, I'd like to introduce you to Mary Stevens, who will tell you a bit about how she uses Microsoft tools to create a work environment that works for her.
On a screen.
Hello, I'm Mary Stevens. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a senior software engineer. I've been with Microsoft for 11 years, and I work in corporate financial services in commerce and ecosystems. I have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, and I'm dyslexic. And over the years, I have learned that I benefit from a highly structured environment, and as my ADHD causes me to have trouble regulating my attention. Having certain structures in place help me reach a focus zone and stay in the flow while coding. I work across 3 monitors and have a very specific way I like to set up my screens, apps, Windows operating system, and even my physical environment. I mirror this environment in my office and at home. Here's what it looks like. And you can see my home and office setup are the same, even down to my small knitting project on my desk. I use Visual Studio to write services, and I keep it full screen on one of my 3 monitors. I have it set up with helpful extensions. Some of my favorites are spell check because of my dyslexia, code formatters, which help to reduce cognitive load by automating formatting, to do, which helps me remember what I need to complete, since my working memory is reduced compared to others, dark mode to help with eye strain, and IntelliCode, an AI-assisted development extension, which helps to identify improvements in my code. I have VS Code up on full screen on my second monitor for writing user interfaces. I have it set up with my personal settings and favorite extensions as well. I use Do Not Disturb to manage notifications that can become overly distracting. I recently learned about Zen mode, and it can be extremely helpful when I'm analyzing code because it gets rid of everything but the editor. It's built into VS Code, so it's a simple few keystrokes to bring it up. My third screen is saved for my other apps, like Teams, Edge, or Outlook. I usually have Teams up on this screen most of the time. Red notifications on my app bar and sounds can break my focus, so I disable them, both through each app and Windows Focus. It took a long time to get all this set up just the way I wanted, but it's worth the effort. I even have my knitting nearby to help me maintain focus by moving my hands while in meetings or waiting for builds when my brain gets understimulated. In the next couple of months, we'll be releasing a new Microsoft Power Toy for Windows. It's an AI shortcut tool for creating macros, a more technical name for shortcuts, to help developers and their teams reduce steps and repetitive tasks with the smarts of AI. Once I get my system set up exactly the way I want, I can use AI macros to create a one-step way into my focus mode and tailor it to what I need in the office versus what I need at home. Start coding.
A window opens.
With a simple voice command, AA Macros launches a macro I wrote to open Focus Assistant, sets a timer for me, and opens Visual Studio and VS Code and Spotify so I can get started coding in a few seconds. Thank you for giving me space to share my story. Please remember, I'm only one ADHDer and dyslexic. We all experience the world in our own unique ways. I'm excited about our collective approach to inclusive development and encourage developers to work with people from the disabled community to co-create and collaborate for true inclusion. In case you're wondering, I did knit the sweater. Happy International Women's Day. Amanda, over to you.
Thanks, Mary. You know, Mary's experience is such a good reminder that developers' time is their greatest resource, and that creating environments that promote focus can help them find their flow and maximize that time. Ultimately, reducing or eliminating distractions in physical and digital spaces, like Mary has done, makes developers happier. And having that kind of sustained focus can empower them to turn their ideas into impact at scale. Now, I'm excited to introduce you to Ginny Cahey, the President and Director of Software Development at WasteWorks, which provides software management systems for solid waste disposal and recycling. Ginny is here to demo a new feature that just shipped in the latest version of Visual Studio, the Visual Studio Accessibility Checker. The checker is powered by Accessibility Insights and integrated directly into the developer environment, making it easier to detect and fix common issues earlier in the software lifecycle. Ginny, I'll let you take it from here.
On the screen.
Thanks, Amanda. Hi, everybody. I'm Ginny Cahey, President of Carolina Software. Our software products, called WasteWorks, run in landfills and recycling centers all over North America. I've always been interested in accessibility, and probably the reason was my father. My father was blind during his career as a lawyer, so I've always been sensitive to that. I'm delighted to learn that Visual Studio now has new tooling to help find the most common accessibility issues. What I'm showing on screen here is a very simplified point-of-sale application that's in use at landfills and recycling centers currently. It handles charge and cash customers. It handles credit card payments. It handles a variety of materials and origins. But it looks really simple, right? Well, maybe not so simple for someone with disabilities. So let's see what Visual Studio can do to help. I have the Live Visual Tree window pinned open, and there's a new button on the Live Visual Tree called the Accessibility Issues Checker. It looks like a little man. I'm going to click on the button and see what kind of issues I need to fix. Well, very quickly I can see that the custom control needs an automation name property to make screen readers know what to do with that control. So I'm going to add it here, automation properties name, and I'll call it customer list. Now I'll check the accessibility again by tapping the go button. Wait just a few minutes, and you can see that control is now fixed, and I have just some more to do one by one. Now, admittedly, this is a small application with not that many controls, and a typical enterprise application for me might run to 1,000 lines of XAML or more. It's the same approach fixing those applications as this one, just one at a time, using what's available in Visual Studio. I really like this new tooling. It's going to make my applications better. My users are going to like it better, and that makes me very happy. Over to you, Amanda.
Thanks for sharing your story, Ginny. To learn more about the Accessibility Checker and how Visual Studio is innovating for inclusion, check out the link below. Now, before we go, I do want to take a moment to talk about AI. It's no secret that it's top of mind for everyone in the industry. Large-scale models like OpenAI's ChatGPT and DALL-E have captured a lot of people's attention, and they have the power to make a really positive impact on accessibility. Just yesterday, Microsoft announced a public preview for new AI features from Azure Cognitive Services for Vision. The features are made possible with Microsoft's state-of-the-art computer vision model called Florence. This AI model can recognize and analyze millions of objects like logos, landmarks, and diagrams, and generate detailed descriptions, which is a big step in making visual content more accessible. For example, Florence can describe in detail that this woman is wearing headphones and that she's playing music while standing at a deck. And that this person isn't just holding blueberries in their hand, but that they're actually placing blueberries onto a cake. These automatic image descriptions are especially helpful on social media platforms where visual content is pervasive but not typically described. I've asked Jennison Asuncion, who's one of our partners over at LinkedIn, to tell us about how he and his team are using Azure Cognitive Services to improve inclusion. Jennison?
On the screen.
Thanks, Amanda. Hello, everyone. My name is Jennison Asuncion, Head of Accessibility Engineering Evangelism at LinkedIn. Every day, job seekers and working professionals come to our platform to share professional updates, achievements, and articles. They're also promoting events and job opportunities. Many of these posts include an image. So when we think about our members who are blind or visually impaired, we want to make sure we include equal access to these images, because in many cases, they're an essential part of the conversation. Now at LinkedIn today, we're already using Azure Cognitive Services to adjust ourselves to issues of accessibility with AI. For example, we're using Cognitive Vision to add alternative text descriptions that are automatically generated. We're also using auto-generated captions across our platform. Now, while we're using AI to provide alternative text descriptions, we do encourage our members to add alternative text descriptions or to edit already automatically generated descriptions, because we know that provides better context. Amanda, when you were providing the information on improvements, as someone who's blind, I got really excited. Because I know that, for example, when people are sharing updates about events, I will be able to see or to know that Ryan Roslansky was in some of those photos. And to me, that's important. In closing, I did want to share one other exciting update. In the coming months, LinkedIn will be upgrading to Cognitive Services Image Analysis API. Back to you, Amanda.
Thanks, Jennison. I'm happy to share that this technology will be coming to Seeing AI, PowerPoint, Outlook, Word, Excel, and Reddit soon. If you're interested in learning more about Azure Cognitive Services or innovative ways to improve accessibility using AI, visit the links below. Since last year's Ability Summit, we've made significant strides toward inclusion, and there's still plenty of runway ahead, which is why we come to work every day. If you take one thing away from today's session, I hope you'll remember that being a developer is about so much more than just knowing how to code. Complicated problems require creative solutions, and creative solutions require ideas from people with all kinds of backgrounds. Engineers with physical disabilities, cognitive differences, and unique ways of making are invaluable to our products and to our teams. In short, when engineering teams are inclusive, the products they build for their customers are inclusive too. And that has the power to empower every person everywhere to achieve more. Thank you so much for joining today. I hope you're feeling inspired to take some of this tech back to your teams, and that you'll stick around for our breakout session where we'll demo more new features and discuss the many ways we're innovating for inclusive developer experiences. Over to you, Jenny.
Thank you, Amanda. That is build, imagine, and include in one package. Ability Summit in one nugget of joy. I hope you're inspired to get out there and leverage our amazing Microsoft tools and start building something incredible. Now, opportunities for inclusion happen at even the most nascent stages of work. And in fact, one of the most important of those is the hiring process. So how can you best support neurodiverse candidates, those with non-apparent disabilities? Let's find out with Microsoft CVP of Corporate Global Talent Acquisition, Lauren Gardner, Angelica Kumar, CEO and founder of Mentra, which is an amazing AI-driven platform company for the neurodiverse community and a previous Microsoft AI for Accessibility grantee winner. Let's pass it over.
Lauren Gardner.
Hi, I'm Lauren Gardner, and I lead Microsoft's Global Talent Acquisition team. Our company mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And there are billions of people who want to achieve more, but have a different set of circumstances, abilities, and backgrounds that often limit access to opportunity and achievement. We think the better we are able to represent that diversity within our company, the better we are able to innovate and create technologies, services, and solutions that truly empower everyone. So where do we start? For us at Microsoft, we put our efforts into these two focus areas, screening in and inclusive practices. Screening in is our flexible approach to hiring. It helps build broader candidate pools with individuals that can contribute to both our company and our culture. We also focus on inclusive practices, like making it easy for candidates to ask for accommodations for an interview and creating accessible workplace experiences, whether on-site, remote, or hybrid. Recruiter and hiring team readiness are also key to the equation. We know traditional recruiting practices don't always allow individuals who are neurodiverse to demonstrate their strengths and qualifications. By equipping our teams who screen and interview candidates with the right training on language and terminology and access to resources like our Disability Hiring Toolkit, we can help foster the right dialogue that leads to equitable interview experiences. Accommodating the needs of those non-apparent disabilities is easy to do when you have the right training, resources, and organizational support. I've asked Angelica Kumar to join me today to share her perspectives on this important topic. Angelica is one of the co-founders of Mentra, an AI-driven platform for the neurodiversity community and a Microsoft AI for Accessibility grant winner. Congratulations. Angelica, welcome, and thank you for being here. Could you please tell me a little bit about Mentra and why you started the company?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Lauren. So Mentra is an employment network for the 1 billion neurodivergent professionals worldwide with autism, ADHD, dyslexia, and various forms of learning differences. Now, growing up, I personally witnessed the barriers to inclusion that people with disabilities face. My older brother, Vikram, is a non-speaking or traditionally nonverbal autistic individual. And for most of my life, I assumed that based on his complex support needs, that he would be parent dependent his whole life and never have the opportunity to contribute to society. But that was until technology actually allowed him to type his first words, not just in English, but in multiple languages that he taught himself through television. Now, I witnessed the power that accessible technology represents as an equalizing force that has not yet been fully realized. And it became my mission and the mission of our team at Mentra to really empower neurodivergents facing barriers to gain autonomy over their role in society, to find meaning and purpose, and to live with the independence that comes with income. Now, the way that companies often find and harness talent is not working for that 15% of the global population with distinct characteristics in the job finding process. So we really built Mentra to reinvent the way that companies find and activate talent by harnessing those unique cognitive strengths in the workforce of the future.
Thank you, Angelica. And I recently saw, you published an article, I actually read it. It was very interesting in terms of the top 10 accommodations sought by neurodiverse job seekers. Can you give us a few examples and share your thoughts on how employers can support these requests?
So employers, they are looking to educate themselves. They're looking at, what to do, what to ask for, what to say. And one of the things that we actually help candidates with is in determining what the neurodivergent individual needs in order to be successful at the job. And that's not always obvious. What's exciting is we've heard from thousands of neurodivergents that we work with that they have been able to discover their own needs and communicate that in a professional environment. And from the data of over 13,000 candidates, we've gathered what are those most commonly requested accommodations by neurodivergents. So some of those include, noise canceling headphones, especially useful for those who are sensitive to sound. And this accommodation can bring a lot of stability, especially in an unpredictable work environment. Written concise instructions is another one. It's a lifesaver, especially for those with ADHD, like myself, who have difficulty with short-term memory, staying on top of tasks, and even uninterrupted work time. Oftentimes, folks can excel when they have that moment to get in the zone and be undisturbed by teammates. And so, tables are turning. Candidates are beginning to only apply to jobs where companies can actually accommodate their divergence. And leading companies, on the other hand, are actually putting accommodations, front and center. And we see that just an analogy with a university we're working with in Rhode Island. Whenever they have college tours, every student, whether or not they have a disability, learns about the accommodations office and the services they provide. And that school has, at least 10 times the number of disclosed candidates compared to other schools. Because accommodations is not something that's hidden in the background. It's something that not just schools but employers can actually build into the culture to distinguish themselves as an employer of choice. And this ties back in with ROI from workforce productivity, retention, and access to a broader talent pool, because companies are creating a brand on how neuro-inclusive they are.
Yeah, I really appreciate that response, and the putting the accommodations front and center really resonates with me as we think about how do you create the culture that will not only attract the fantastic candidates that a lot of companies are missing, but how do we also create a culture where potential applicants feel comfortable and feel that they can put their accommodations front and center. Thank you for that response. With AI dominating the news cycle lately and a lot of focus on AI for good, with the work you are doing at Mentra, how do you see AI helping those with non-apparent disabilities to find employment?
Absolutely. It's a timely question, especially amidst all of the recent layoffs. And, we're hearing about a generation of silent quitting, of climbing rates of mental health challenges in the workplace, and companies that are spending over $1 trillion on turnover. It's time to come to terms with the reality that there is an underlying problem. We're not fully activating the power of our people because we're not considering everything that goes into making the right long-term match that optimizes for retention and job fulfillment. Now, we believe that by taking the power of AI and training companies on a data set that's much faster than what we look at today, we're able to solve for the most complex use case, the neurodiverse population, and that if we optimize for retention and improve the process for this population, it applies to everyone. And as we know, a lot of times we're looking at, especially in traditional hiring processes, factors like pedigree, titles, education, and we're hardly considering any data on a person's unique neurotype, their aptitude, their communication style, their sensory preferences, and so many more of those human factors that really end up driving long-term retention outcomes. Now, the Mentra team, with an investment from Sam Altman, is using OpenAI in quite a few ways. We're building an AI-powered virtual job coach to help with professional activities, from looking for a job to actually interacting with recruiters to understanding, the post-hire process and navigating once someone gets successfully hired. We're also using OpenAI to create tailored career plans. By understanding one's neurotype and learning styles, we're able to find, what career would be the best fit for this individual. And, in the long run, all of this, understanding these more humanistic factors and training a model off of it really allows companies we work with to hire truly extraordinary talent and reduce turnover, increase productivity, and improve the company morale for all. That just happens to drive the bottom line as well.
Excellent. I really like the focus that you have on not just the what can we do to attract and broaden the talent pool of this fantastic talent, but how we also support the development to and through once they are hired. I think that is a fantastic use and learning from technology, and we really look forward to learning more from you all. So thank you, Jillica, for the work that you all are doing to help job seekers and those that have landed jobs in the neurodiversity community. It is a community that unfortunately continues to be plagued with unemployment rates as high as 40%. And through your work and the investments of companies like Microsoft and many other companies, making, and focusing on inclusive hiring practices, my hope is that someday we will no longer have a need to bring these data points to light. So to learn more about Microsoft's disability hiring initiatives and the process for requesting interview accommodations, please visit Microsoft.com/inclusive hiring. Thank you so much for joining us today. And again, a huge thank you to Jillica Kumar.
Thank you so much, Lauren.
Welcome back. Can you believe we're closing out our second keynote session already? And it is time to send you off to another round of breakouts. When you get back, we've got so much more left. A can't miss panel on the power of intersectionality on advancing accessibility rights, and trust me, you don't want to miss that one. And we deep dive into new developments in voice recognition technology. Also, our president, Vice Chair of Microsoft, Brad Smith, leads a conversation with U.S. Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg. Microsoft folks, also, please stick around. After the main show, it's time for the Ability Awards. Now, off you go. Enjoy your breakouts, and I'll see you right after.
Jenny steps away left. Ability Summit. URLs from this session, aka.ms/VSA11Y. aka.ms/Vision Studio, aka.ms/Azure AIA11Y.